This is an analysis of The Wife of Bath by Roger Houghton. The Wife of Bath philosophies include that she's generally carefree about sex, that she believes that she isn't sinning by having 5 husbands or having had 5 husbands. She thinks that virginity isn't within God's jurisdiction to judge. She thinks that she is morally in the right by having had so many husbands. She thinks that God gave man and women their reproductive organs to not just purge urine from their bodies, but to breed, to reproduce, to propagate. She thinks that men owe women or their wives a debt, and that the only way they can pay that debt is by using their reproductive organs through sex. She thinks that husbands should frequently praise their wives, that they should be quiet, patient, and servile. The Wife of Bath knows the Bible, but isn't religious. For instance, the Wife of Bath quotes a lot from the Bible, but she also quotes a lot from philosophers like Ptolemy. She goes against the clergy in saying that she should be able to marry 5 men and not have been sinning, or be a sinner for that. She prefers to be in control of her husbands, or of her current husband, as she's had 5, and she manipulates them by lying and toying with their emotions. She is struck by one of her husbands for tearing out the page of one of his favorite books, and he hits her. She manipulates him, or toys with him, his emotions, by staying still and almost feigning death. She then comes to and says, well, what if I had died? What would you do? I'd be dead. She doesn't like men that are controlling and says that she could never marry a man that wanted to know where she was all the time, or was so controlling, tried to keep her in a cage. She had 5 husbands in total. There were 3 that were good, 1 that was young and stubborn, the 4th one, that she tormented because she found out he was in love with another woman while they were married. Now her 5th husband was an independent type. He didn't like, he wasn't the type of person that she could just toy with all the time. She says that he beat her, which brought her physical and mental, scars, which usually come from abuse. But she says that even though he beat her, and it seemed like he hated her, that she kept him solely for love and not money. She says that she gave him all of her land, all of her money, which she later regretted, but even through all the beating, she says that women and I lust or long for what we cannot have. And one of the things she cannot have in this situation is affection and love from this husband. Now, she says that she loved him so much because she says she loved him the best because even though he beat her, during times he gave her affection, it was magnificent because she couldn't have it. She wanted it so much. Said that women play games like that too, but so do men. This man in particular would show her hate, seemingly hate, and then show her affection in great quantity, and she would love it. She had said that she would whine like she was mad for affection, and when she finally got it, it gave her great pleasure. She claims that Venus gave her desire and lecherousness, and that Mars gave her hardiness. Now, the story that she tells is a story of a knight who molests a woman, and the woman tries to have him executed. Now, she's given a choice as to how he is executed. She can do it herself, or it be done some other way. she chooses that she bear the sword in cutting off his head. Now, when she's about to cut off this man's head, she gives him the choice. You answer this question right, and I'll let you go. But if you answer false, I'll cut off your head. So obviously, he's going to take the chance, he's going to die or not, to answer the question correctly. And the question is, what is it that women most desire? Now, this is not really a simple question, because there's a lot of things you would imagine women desire. And it's kind of hard for him to come up with an answer. So he says, or she says, that she'll give him a year and a day, which is a seemingly common theme repeating here in our stores, for him to formulate an answer, to go out and find an answer. So off he goes on a quest to find this answer. And he searches everywhere, but to no avail, fruitless his efforts, until finally he comes to an old woman. Well, first, he enters a room, and it seems like there's 20 women dancing. Then all fades away, and there an old woman is sitting. And he asks her this question that he's been asking everybody else: what is it that women most desire? And she tells him, if I tell you, you have to give me whatever I want. He says, okay, I just want my life. So she tells him, women want sovereignty. They want control and mastery over their husbands. And so it was sealed. She could get whatever she wanted from him. So he goes back and says, back to the woman, and says, I have an answer for you. And, well, he gives her the answer. And turns out he's correct. They do want sovereignty. The woman was right. The old lady was right. So now he's got to marry this old woman. That's what she wanted. She came up to him and said, I want you in wedlock. I want to marry you. He was kind of appalled. He didn't really want to marry, this old woman. He had higher standards for himself. It wasn't what he wanted in life. Marriage is something you're bound to. It's not quite what he was picturing when, he gets his life back, he'll be free. Now, this story reveals Chaucer's point of view, well, the wife of Bath's point of view, not Chaucer, that she believes that women should have mastery over their husbands. That's what she likes, that's what she believes women should have. And I guess that's about it. That's a bird. That is a bird. That bird is going places. That is a bunch of geese. That's a pier. That's another bird up there. That's a bird. That's the same bird I was just talking about. I'm on a rock. Woohoo!